Today, there's a bunch of small stuff to do. I'm wrapping up the project.
We've been taking one tiny step after another, and finally we're seeing some major progress.
We just loaded up all of the solar panels on a pallet so we can get it ready to take the trailer out.
With every little project, the light at the end of the tunnel gets brighter.
Bubba, did Grandma get that for you? Yeah.
I got this thing plugged in, Ethernet to USB, and updated everything. I hooked up a second string just to test it, and looks like we have almost 8 amps into the battery. Today, there's a bunch of small stuff to do. I'm wrapping up the project. I'm gonna go around and ensure that all the fasteners all have lock washers and they're all tight and torqued. I need to ventilate the box because it's sealed, so I'm gonna cut a 4.5-inch hole for a 5-inch fan. I'm gonna cut 2 holes, one on each side, mount the fans, and then put the voltage regulator in, the 48 volt to 12 volt regulator, wire that in, and wire the fans in. And then I need to tape off some of the AC wiring. I used a blue wire instead of a white wire for neutral. So I got the color wire tape. I just want to tape those off to do it right. And and then maybe do the battery mounts to tie the battery down. And those are essentially all of the pieces that are needed that's left. But other than that, everything works. I just did dual charging, AC charging from the generator, DC charging from the solar panels yesterday. That worked flawlessly. So yeah, this is it. I just used the hole saw, and it was a pretty easy cut going through the aluminum. So there's gonna be one fan here. Yeah, you can see the fan for the inverter right there. So this will push air over there. It'll suck it in and then push it out the other side of the box. had it in front of the damper, but it was coming down and hitting the bolts in the back, so remounted it back here, and I'll just route the wires forward like this. Okay, so I wired in the voltage regulator. 48 volts goes to the red, and the output will be 12 volts. Wiring comes around here, ties in there and there for 48 volts, and continues around that way. And up on that side there, I'm gonna put a 12 volt bus bar, and that's where the fans will get their power. Got the outlet there and the inlet there. All right, I opened the panel back up to delineate this white with wire tape. I mean, it's obvious because it's connected to the neutral bar, but because I'm using a blue wire, I went ahead and did it. Okay, today I have some fabrication work to do. The fans that I put in, need a shroud for the rain, and then also like a cover for rodents and things like that. And I was gonna do it out of sheet metal, but I found these pieces here, the right size with a flap and the grate for like $9. So I'm gonna use these. I just pull a little aluminum off, and then I'll cut this plastic piece off and mount this flush, and this will cover the fans for the moisture. And then the second thing I need to fabricate today is I bought these bearings, and I bought this tube here, and it will basically go like that, and this piece of 1-inch steel will act as the stand, if you will, something like that, and that piece will hold the center of the stanchion, which tends to bow down. So the center of the stanchion here, there's a lot of weight in the center, and it wants to bow that. So that bearing will essentially allow load to be transferred to the center of the shaft. Alright, this piece is a little complex, but what I did was I used a hole saw, and I cut it into a circle, and I used the jigsaw, cut it in half, and then I used the tube right here to scribe, and I drilled 2 holes, and then I'm going to cut straight lines on the scribes, and then this piece will sink down inside of there so that I can weld it. And I'll take this piece as a template, and I'll draw it on here and do the second piece to make them identical. So these are the pieces that I fabricated here. This piece will be the center stanchion, and this piece will end cap like that. These 2 pieces will stand here like this. This will be the axle for the bearing, like this. And yeah, let's see if I can mock it up here real quick. Maybe something like this, since it's welded. Yeah, something like that. So you'll have the bearing, and then this piece here straps on this crossbar stanchion there, and it will ride on the bearing like that. So it basically turns the square piece into a round piece, so that the round edge can roll on a round bearing, and this will take the bearing load. Okay, today I'm gonna weld up everything that I cut yesterday and try to mount it on the trailer. Cut this left side off. I cut it off here, ground it down, and cut that. I also welded some supports to test. So Kimmy's going to get that metal right now. I forgot to time lapse it, but we just loaded up all of the solar panels on the pallet so we can get it ready to take the trailer up. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm installing a switch right here, and I drilled a hole right there, and that is going to allow me to turn the voltage regulator on and off, which is what controls the fan. So I can turn the fans off independently so I don't draw power unnecessarily. The switch is in. I mounted it next to the lock and just wired it in line with the run. It's too windy to weld today, so I'm going to wire in the winch here. And the one special thing that I am doing is I have to crimp these lugs on these quick connects so that I can disconnect it from the truck and the hitch. And this is a wireless remote to replace the wired remote. So I think first thing I'm gonna have to do is turn this box around because there's some clearance issues with the front license plate there. Okay, so I took this piece out that went there in those two holes. I held this bracket, it was broken. So I'm gonna grind one of those down and repurpose it for the ground. So you can see I whiz wheeled that front location to get a good ground directly to the frame, and that's where the flat ground wire goes.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And join us on Patreon.
Today is the day that we're going to take our solar trailer up to the land